The boy runs barefoot through the dark school hallway, doors slamming behind him though no one is visible. His breathing echoes in the empty building. Something unseen is chasing him. He crashes into the bathroom and locks the door. The lights flicker violently. When he looks down, muddy footprints appear on the floor, but his own feet leave nothing. The door handle rattles hard from the outside. He backs toward the window, panicking. Whoever is out there cannot see him, but they know he is inside. Hours earlier, he rides his bicycle through rain toward school, clutching a folded €50 note. The money is supposed to buy something important tonight. Inside the classroom, a police officer interrupts the lesson. She asks about a missing student. The boy slowly realizes the officer is his mother. As she questions the class, the boy's nose suddenly starts bleeding. The room spins. He leaves quickly before anyone notices. In the bathroom mirror, the bleeding stops instantly. The boy stares at his reflection, confused by the sudden calm. 3 older students block the exit. They quietly demand his money. When he hesitates, one of them twists his arm behind his back. The €50 disappear into someone else's pocket. The hallway fills with laughter as the boy stands alone. That evening he walks through a narrow shop filled with dusty costumes. The store owner silently watches him choose the cheapest suit. The costume feels strangely cold when he touches it. The shopkeeper insists it once belonged to a famous hero. The boy does not believe him. At home he refuses to go to the party. His mother gently pushes him toward the door anyway. She tells him it might be a good night. The basement party is loud and crowded. For a moment the boy thinks the night might actually improve. His classmates suddenly project a video onto the wall. The footage shows someone secretly filming a girl walking home. They claim the video came from his phone. The entire room turns toward him. The girl looks horrified. Humiliated, he locks himself inside the bathroom stall. Outside, fists pound the door while people shout his name. The lights suddenly cut out. In the darkness, the boy whispers a desperate wish. He wishes no one could ever see him again. Silence follows. When the lights flicker back, the stall looks empty. The locked door slowly creaks open. The next morning, his mother calls his name from the hallway. She walks straight past him without reacting. The boy stares into the mirror. His clothes float in the air. His body is completely gone. The boy stares into the mirror. His clothes float in the air. His body is completely gone. The boy slowly lifts his sleeve. Nothing appears beneath it. Panic rises as he realizes he cannot turn the invisibility off. His mother calls from the hallway again. He quickly writes a note saying he left early for school and places it on the bed. She reads the note and walks away without suspicion. The boy watches silently, realizing he can move through the world unseen. Outside, he experiments with the power. Passing pedestrians walk directly through the space where he stands. Curiosity slowly replaces fear. If no one can see him, no one can stop him either. During class, he removes his clothes beneath the desk. Within seconds, even the fabric disappears from sight. The boy quietly crosses the classroom. His bully's paintball gun rests on the desk near the front. The trigger suddenly fires. Bright paint explodes across the teacher's jacket. Chaos erupts instantly. The bully is blamed and dragged out of the classroom while the invisible boy watches. The power feels intoxicating. For the first time, he feels stronger than everyone else. He steps inside carefully. Towels hang from hooks and lockers slam shut. He steps inside carefully. Towels hang from hooks and lockers slam shut. A falling towel suddenly lands across his shoulders. The fabric outlines a human shape. The room erupts in screaming. At the same moment, his invisibility begins fading. The next day, a visiting psychologist begins lecturing about teenagers who run away from home. 2 students from the school have already disappeared this month. The room grows uneasy as he explains. While listening, the boy notices something disturbing. His hands begin fading again. He bolts from the room before anyone notices. His sleeves hang empty as he runs. Back home, he locks his bedroom door and removes his clothes again. His entire body vanishes instantly. His little sister suddenly enters the room. The invisible boy freezes as she stares at the floating door handle. She pretends to leave but secretly hides behind the door. When he removes his last piece of clothing, she screams. He quickly explains the costume gave him superpowers. The girl listens but keeps staring at the empty space where he stands. Later that evening he sits alone at a coastal playground. The ocean wind pushes the swing back and forth. The girl from the party approaches cautiously. She thinks the invisible presence might be a ghost. Instead of running away, she kneels and draws a smiling face in the sand. The invisible boy watches. A blind man suddenly stops beside the playground fence. His pale eyes face directly toward the invisible boy. Without hesitation, the man whispers the boy's name. The invisible boy stiffens in shock. That night, the invisible boy climbs onto the girl's balcony to see her again. She speaks to the empty air as if talking to a secret friend. The boy listens quietly. They lean closer until their faces nearly touch. For a moment, the invisible boy forgets the danger surrounding him. But his invisibility suddenly weakens again. The faint outline of his face begins appearing. He quickly jumps off the balcony before she can recognize him. The following day the girl practices alone inside the gymnastics hall. A dart suddenly strikes her neck from across the room. She collapses before making a sound. Moments later a masked man lifts her unconscious body and heads toward a side door. The invisible boy arrives just in time to see the abduction. Rage replaces fear. He tackles the masked man from behind. The attacker stumbles but refuses to release the girl. The man swings wildly into empty space. Somehow he seems to know exactly where the invisible boy stands. A sudden blow knocks the boy across the floor. The masked man escapes with the girl. As police sirens approach outside, the invisible boy realizes something terrifying. Whoever kidnapped her might already know about him. Police surround the gymnasium while investigators search the building. The invisible boy hides in the shadows, watching them carry evidence outside. Across the street, the blind man appears again. He stands perfectly still, facing the invisible boy as if watching him. Without asking questions, the man quietly speaks the boy's thoughts aloud. The invisible boy freezes. The man claims he already knows who the boy is. More disturbingly, he claims to be his father. The invisible boy refuses to believe him. But the man calmly describes the boy's powers before he can speak. He explains that years ago a nuclear disaster created people with unusual abilities. The boy was born from 2 of them. According to him, powerful organizations now hunt children like the boy. The recent kidnappings were not random. Before the boy can respond, nearby fishermen begin calling the police. The blind man senses their suspicion immediately. He presses a folded suit into the boy's hands. The material instantly fades with his body. Then the blind man quietly touches a fisherman's shoulder. The man suddenly forgets why he called the police. Moments later police arrive anyway. Among them is the same psychologist who lectured at school. The psychologist calmly offers to drive the boy home. The invisible boy studies his injured hand carefully. The bite marks match the place where the masked kidnapper was attacked. Realizing the truth, the boy quietly removes his clothes and vanishes again. The psychologist locks every door in the apartment. His calm expression disappears. He begins searching the rooms carefully. Somehow he seems to track the invisible boy's movements. The invisible boy escapes through a window and runs down the street barefoot. A passing motorcycle stops suddenly as an unseen weight jumps onto the back seat. The confused rider speeds away from the neighborhood while the invisible passenger grips tightly. Eventually the boy reveals himself to the rider. Shock replaces the rider's earlier fear. He explains the kidnappings and the hidden facility where the girl might be held. Inside that building, the kidnapped girl awakens surrounded by wires and machines. Scientists monitor her reactions through glass windows. They search for something hidden in her blood. Later she is thrown into a locked room with 2 other missing students. Meanwhile the invisible boy approaches the facility under darkness. Inside, guards suddenly collapse as unseen blows strike them. The boy steals a weapon and forces another guard to unlock the cells. The kidnapped students rush out in confusion when the doors open by themselves. The invisible boy finally reveals himself to them. Shock spreads across their faces. Most of them run toward the exit. But the girl insists someone else is still trapped inside. They follow her deeper into the building where a locked room waits. Inside sits a frail old man chained to a chair. The girl suddenly grabs a gun and points it at the invisible boy. Her eyes look strangely distant. She is not controlling her own actions. The old man behind her begins speaking calmly. His voice echoes inside everyone's mind. He reveals the truth: the kidnappers were only puppets. He has been controlling them the entire time. With a gesture, the girl collapses unconscious. The boy is suddenly surrounded by armed men. They drag the boy toward a waiting submarine hidden beneath the facility. As the submarine sinks into the ocean, the boy feels something inside him changing. For the first time in his life, the invisible boy realizes he is not powerless. Something far stronger is waking up.